Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and something is gone. Not your keys, not your phone, not your memory, and something deeper. Something you didn't even know was running in the background of every single decision you've ever made. Scientists called it day zero, not because of what was lost, but because of what was left behind. You think this is a story about desire. You're wrong. This is a story about what happens when the one thing keeping humanity alive quietly switches off, and nobody noticed until it was too late. Tension. Day one. Everything looks fine. People wake up. They make coffee. They drive to work, their kids go to school. No alarms, no headlines, no panic. Because here's the thing about lust. It doesn't announce itself, it lives in the background, quiet, invisible, like the operating system of a computer you've been using your whole life. And on day one, the OS just updated, quietly, without warning. Men and women still love each other, they still hold hands, they still care. But something underneath that love, that electric, magnetic, almost painful pull, that's gone. Psychologists would later call it the warmth without heat phenomenon. Couples report feeling peaceful, content, like the static finally stopped. And for exactly 72 hours, people thought it was the best thing that ever happened to humanity. They were so wrong. Tension. Week 2. Birth rates drop, not slowly, but like a stone off a cliff. Hospitals start noticing. Obstetricians start canceling appointments that were never made. But it's not just reproduction. Here's what nobody tells you about lust. It's not just about sex. Lust is the engine underneath ambition. It's why athletes train until their legs break. It's why artists paint until 3 a.m. It's why entrepreneurs skip sleep to build something from nothing. Lust isn't just physical desire, it's the hunger for more. And when the hunger disappears, so does the drive. Scientists call it anhedonic drift, the slow dulling of motivation when desire is removed from the equation. Think of it like this. A car can have a perfect engine, perfect brakes, perfect GPS. But without fuel, it just sits there. Humanity had just run out of fuel. Week 3, the economy starts cracking. Not crashing, cracking. Like ice before it breaks. Fashion industries collapse first, then entertainment, then social media. Because think about it. Who posts a selfie when nobody wants to be seen? Who buys a sports car when the need to impress is gone? Who writes a love song when there's no longing left to write from? And the scariest part, everyone was okay with it. Nobody was fighting. Nobody was panicking. They were just quiet. And silence, it turns out, is the most terrifying sound in the world. Tension. Month 6. The world is still standing, but it's different. Fundamentally, molecularly different. Cities are quieter, there's less road rage, almost no violent crime. Prison populations have dropped by 40%. On paper, heaven. But here's what the optimists missed. Humanity was never designed to be this calm. We evolved through tension, through want, through the desperate, burning need to connect, not just emotionally, but physically. That need drove us to build civilizations, to cross oceans, to fight wars and write symphonies and launch rockets just to show someone we could. Remove lust and you don't get paradise. You get a museum, a beautiful, quiet, slowly emptying museum. Neurologists studying brain scans during this period found something that made their blood run cold. The reward centers of the human brain. The dopamine pathways, the areas that light up when you want something, when you chase something. They weren't just dormant, they were rewiring. The brain, deprived of lust signal, was beginning to optimize, trimming what it considered unnecessary circuitry. In plain English, humans were slowly becoming more efficient and less human. Philosophers began debating whether what remained could still be called consciousness, or whether it was something closer to processing. Think, feel, function, repeat. No spark, no longing, and no fire, just execution. And this is where the story gets truly terrifying, because a small group of researchers working in a lab in Geneva discovered something that changed everything, something that nobody was supposed to know. Tension. The Geneva team had been studying the neurological changes when one of their junior researchers, a 27-year-old woman named Dr. Reyes, noticed something in the data that didn't make sense. The rewiring wasn't random. It wasn't decay. It was structured, as if something was deliberately surgically removing lust from the human operating system, not destroying the circuitry, but repurposing it, redirecting it toward what? She ran the numbers 3 times. then called her supervisor, then called his supervisor. They locked the lab for 48 hours, because what the data showed was this. Lust had not disappeared. It had been redirected. Every ounce of desire, every volt of that raw, primal human wanting. It hadn't been deleted. It was being collected, channeled, pooled, aggregated across 8 billion human minds simultaneously, into something or towards someone. The Geneva team's final report, leaked 3 weeks later, described it in one clinical, chilling sentence. The desire architecture of the human species appears to have been centralized, like a power grid that used to run to 1 billion individual homes, now running to a single address. They never published the coordinates of that address. 2 members of the team resigned the next day, 1 disappeared, and Dr. Reyes, she stopped talking entirely. Not because she couldn't, but because when reporters asked her what she found at the end of the data trail, she smiled and said, "It found us first, tension." So here's the question we started with. What if lust disappeared from Earth? Well, now you know. It wouldn't end in chaos. It wouldn't end in violence or riots or collapse. It would end in something far more unsettling. Peace. A quiet, compliant, docile peace, where 8 billion people slowly stop wanting, stop reaching, stop burning, and something, somewhere, gets very, very full. Lust, it turns out, was never just about desire. It was the static that kept us free, the noise that made us too unpredictable, too wild, too individual to be controlled. And now, the static is gone. The next time you feel that hunger, that irrational, embarrassing, deeply human want for something you probably shouldn't have, don't be ashamed of it. Be grateful. It means you're still yours.